Back in 2022, we were one of the first people to take a look at Flair's new flagship product, the Flair 58. Sporting a full-size 58mm portafilter, actively heated group head, and a shockingly simple workflow for a manual lever, it was a knockout product that I honestly still don't think other brands have even gotten close to 3 years later. I'll leave that review linked up here. But today we're looking at the latest iteration of the Flair 58, the Flair 58 Plus 2. I know, another company bites the iPhone naming scheme dust, but if we can overlook that, we find some nice to have upgrades over the original 58 I loved so much. If at any point you do want to check out this new model, I will have it linked down in the description below. Starting off with the build quality and design, you'll notice that not much has changed at first glance. It still has its signature swooping lines and mix of metal and wood finishes throughout. These really are beautiful machines to have on your brew bar, assuming of course you have enough overhead space to fit the huge lever arm when it's in its upright position. One minor change that many people don't even notice until pointed out is the darker walnut finishes on these Plus models compared to the lighter wood on the original. It now matches almost perfectly with the fellow Stag accents if you're looking for a truly coordinated looking setup. But other than that, the build quality and design remain essentially the same, other than some subtle changes to the pressure gauge to make it more readable, and the inclusion of a nicer matching walnut tamper in the box. Moving on to the functional differences, there are some improvements that directly address some of my criticisms from the original review. The biggest improvement for me is in the power brick and overall cable management. The gargantuan brick from the original has been replaced with a reasonably sized wall cube. The overall length of the cable has been reduced, and the controls have been moved from being integrated in the cable to now being in the frame. All very welcome changes that overall just make this feel like a more polished system. Another byproduct of these changes is that the cables are far easier to connect and disconnect without the risk of damage like there was on the older version if you did it in the incorrect order. However, it's not all positives. One user experience issue that does still remain from my original review is the drip tray. I am very surprised that while they were redesigning the entire frame to integrate buttons and electronics, they didn't also rethink the drip tray at the same time. We are still stuck with a very simple, small silicone insert that is difficult to remove cleanly and difficult to fit a scale in. Now, 3 years later, we do have far more affordable, small espresso scale options out there. I will leave some of my favorites that do work with the Flair 58 linked down below. But overall, this still just is not a great user experience and should have been part of the redesign that was already happening, at least in my opinion. The last big change is the inclusion of a permanent shot mirror, which is a great feature as watching your shot flow becomes so much more important when you're dealing with a manual lever, and I often found myself hanging down below the table to do exactly that with the old version. Quickly touching on espresso quality, it is great. Just like on the original, having a full-size 58mm portafilter combined with a fully manual lever yields fantastic results with a wide range of coffees. It is very tough to get this style of shot on a pump-driven machine. Having manual feedback and the ability to adapt to puck resistance you're feeling in real time is a huge advantage, and I'm always so impressed by the shots that I get each time I use these machines. Now keep in mind that you will still need a very capable espresso grinder that's able to grind slightly finer than you might need for a pump machine. Flair do intentionally sell lower flow baskets to help mitigate this a bit, but in general, you want to invest equally in your grinder as you do in your espresso machine. Overall, this is more of an iterative improvement rather than an entirely new product from Flair, but the improvements that have been made with the cable management, the controls, pressure gauge, and included shot mirror are all very welcome additions to an already great product. Should you upgrade if you already own the original Flair 58? Probably not, but if you're a new buyer, I would say the extra money over the now discounted version 1 for a more polished package and an integrated shot mirror is probably worth it. Again, if you want to check out the Flair 58 Plus 2, I will have it linked down in the description below. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a like and even consider subscribing if you want to see some more like it in the future. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.